Charlie Kirk has a bonkers new conspiracy theory about the goals of the trans agenda.
The transgender movement is an introductory phase to get you to strip yourself of your humanity to mesh with machines. It's called transhumanism. They want you to say, okay, well, I can choose any gender. Why can't I just have like an exoskeleton of some sort of machine around me? This is why they're so insistent on this transgender thing, because if you stop being a man, then maybe you could stop being a human being. Maybe you can kind of just plug into some sort of machine. This is where their control, their profit motive is coming down the stream. There's a ton of literature about this. I'm far from the first person to comment on it.
Gee, I wonder why that would be. The first person to comment on that. By the way, we'll get to that point in a minute, because he's right. He's not the first to talk about that. But the reason that they don't talk about it a lot is because it's insane. Just insane. But anyway, hey, you know who wants an exoskeleton? I do. Because that would be awesome. Where do I sign up for that? Where do I sign up for a badass exoskeleton? Please tell me, Charlie. Now, secondly, oh man, if you can stop being a man, then maybe you can stop being a human being. That doesn't make sense. Are you saying that women aren't human? Because that's what transgender, basically male to female, transgender people, right? They transition from male to female. Are females not human beings? I mean, really? Really? Because I think they are. But understand that, like, the dehumanization of women, especially trans women, well, that would kind of track with how conservatives tend to regard actual women. So, they treat all women the same way, terribly. All right, so anyway, again, on that too, by the way, if you could stop being a man, you could stop being a human being. What? How is that at all comparative? I mean, by the way, speaking on that, the transhumanism thing, well, okay, here's the thing. We already mesh man and machine. We already do. I mean, you ever heard of a pacemaker? How about an implantable defibrillator? You can even go, simpler. It doesn't have to be a complex machine. It could be screws and pins that get implanted into people all the time. It can be joints. It can be, a knee replacement or a hip replacement. That's not stuff that's natural to the human body, but we put it in there anyway. You don't even have to go inside the body. You can go outside the body. I wear glasses. What? That's not natural. Come on. That's ridiculous. Look, but there are so many commonly implanted devices into the human body that enhances our lives and saves lives. Oh no, does that mean millions of people are now part of the transgender agenda? No, ridiculous. In fact, there's more to that video, by the way. He goes on to explain more of the trans agenda.
What is the agenda here? Well, the agenda is kind of like Ready Player One meets Inception, where you kind of just hook up to a machine all day long and you're controlled by 5 companies that control your thoughts and your feelings, and the real world actually ends up being the not real world, where everyone just kind of wears goggles all day long. That's the deeper significance of the transgender movement that no one wants to talk about. David?
Really? That may have been the dumbest thing I've heard on my entire life. Oh no, transgenderism and transhumanism, they're the same thing. No, the only thing they have in common is the prefix trans. Now look, Charlie Kirk, again, he seems to think he knows what the secret agenda is. And that nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Except, yes, actually, this is where the idea is coming from. In fact, you had Sherry Tenpenny. Sounds like a Bond villain, by the way. Who is an anti-vax so-called expert. Here's what she said on January 28th in a recent appearance on some right-wing show.
stated goal is to depopulate the planet, and the ones that are left either make them chronically sick or turn them into transhumanist cyborgs that can be controlled by and manipulated externally by 5G, by magnets, by all sorts of things. It's all true. It's all true. They talk, the whole issue of quantum entanglement and how what these shots do in terms of the frequencies and the electronic frequencies that come inside of your body and hook you up to the Internet of Things, the quantum entanglement that happens immediately after you're injected, and you get hooked up to what they're trying to develop. It's called the hive mind, and they want all of us there as a node and as an electronic avatar that is an exact replica of us, except it's an electronic replica. It's not our God-given body that we were born with. And all of that will be running through the metaverse that they're talking about. All of these things are real, Stu.
Somebody just learned about the phrase. You can tell. Someone just learned what or heard quantum entanglement on the news and was like, that's it. Quantum entanglement. That's what's going on here. What? What is wrong with these people? They're insane. That's what's wrong with them. But look, let me tell you about what the trans agenda is, right? You want to know what the trans agenda is? Well, first you should probably ask a transgender person. So, not me, but I have asked transgender people about the trans agenda. You know what it is? You know what they're going to tell you? Trans people, their agenda is to be able to be comfortable with who they are as a person and not be murdered by people who hate them. Yes, that's pretty much it. Yeah, to live their lives. Maybe find a spouse, maybe get married, whatever, find a good career, and to not be murdered by a crazed bigot who thinks that they want to turn everyone into cyborgs because some guy with an abnormally small face to head ratio said so. Just saying. And by the way, what happened to freedom? Hey, Charlie Kirk, if I want to be a cyborg, why can't I be a fucking cyborg? Maybe I do want to be a cyborg. Hook me up with some robot arms. Fuck yeah. And as long as nobody is forced to get robot arms, what's the problem? Freedom. America.